Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Army War College Symposium 2023. At the outset, we would like to inform all the physical participants that if you have any urgent official calls, you can go out of the auditorium and attend to that.
As per the scheduled program, now it is the time to begin the first session of the today's symposium.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first session will focus on the topic of fifth generation warfare and challenges for state. And the session chair is Major General MGWWW MCB Vikramsinghe RWP RSP NDU PSC, the Director General General Staff of Sri Lanka Army.
The session comprises two sub-sessions.
First session is Evolution of Modern Warfare and Significance of Fifth Generation Warfare by Brigadier SP Vikramasekara, RWP, RSP, USP, PSC, Military Advisor, Permanent Representative to the United Nations. He will be joining us virtually from New York, United States. And the next session is Dynamics and Influence of Fifth Generation Warfare and Challenges by Major General DKSK Dolage, USP PSC, the General Officer Commanding of 59 Division.
Let me now invite Lieutenant Colonel A.W.K. Samarasinghe, RWP, RSP, USP, PSC, LSC, Gajaba Regiment, a member of the directing staff, to introduce the session chair to the audience.
Senior officers, distinguished guests, and symposium participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. After listening to the keynote speaker's amplified speech on fifth generation warfare, let me now introduce a military professional and charismatic speaker who is going to chair the first session of this Army War College Symposium 2023. He is Major General Chandra Vikramasinghe, RWP, RSP, NDU, PSC, the General Officer Commanding, Director General General Staff at the Army Headquarters, and Colonel of the Regiment of Mechanized Infantry Regiment. Having completed his basic military training both at the Indian Military Academy and Sri Lanka Military Academy, he received his commission and was subsequently posted to the esteemed Gajaba Regiment, where he was groomed to reach to the today's position. Prior to present appointments, he has held the appointments of Adjutant General, Military Secretary, and Director of Media at the Army Headquarters, as well as the military spokesman who served his best as a charismatic communicator. In addition, he has also held the office of the Dean of the Faculty of Defense and Strategic Studies at the General Sir John Kothawala Defense University, and had the privilege of becoming the first research coordinator of the Department of Strategic Studies in the same university. Major General Chandra Vikramasinghe is a graduate of the Army Command and Staff College, Sri Lanka, and he has earned his master's degree in international relations from the University of Colombo. He has followed an academic program of National Security and War Studies at the National Defense University of the Republic of Korea. He was awarded the Asia's Education Leadership Award 2015 at the Asia's Education Excellence Award ceremony held in Singapore in 2015. In addition, he has also conducted lectures on national security strategies, personal development modules, and soft skills both nationally and internationally. Being a proud product of Matale Vijay College and Dharmaraja College, Kandy, Major General Chandra Vikramasinghe is considered a professional military officer and multidisciplinary researcher in international research domain specialized in geopolitics, leadership, and strategic studies with special focus on national security. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Major General Chandra Vikramasinghe, the session chair of the first session today. With that, let me invite Major General Chandra Wickramasinghe to commence the proceeding. Now I cordially invite Major General Kapila Dolage, USP PSC, to take his seat in the panel. Further, Brigadier Sumal Wickramasekara, RWP, RSP, USP, PSC, will also join with the panel in virtual platform.
First and foremost, I would like to congratulate the Commandant, Army War College, and the directing staff, and the participants, and the seminar speakers, and all those, and particularly, this is a great opportunity for middle grade officers to enhance the knowledge. The one thing that the Army expecting, the future generation of career officers are being built, groomed by this STM organization, where it's a matter of time. And today, we are having a great personalities who being groomed by this organization and going to deliver their special speeches on the subject which expected by the Army War College. So I will give you a small introduction prior to that. And I believe that the keynote speech given by Mr. Nirudan is exceptionally well and timely. We talk about the fifth generation warfare, and sometimes there may be the names can be given in different domains. As an officers of the organization, you need to understand what are the salient features that expected by your level in this era. You can see some of the challenging part of your career is happening right now. For me, after having completed almost 35 years in the service, the same organization grew to this level and given the knowledge, skills, and experience by having this great career. I'm quite sure the officers who are here may have joined without knowing much, maybe first and foremost to get an opportunity to serve somewhere as your military career or differently for a profession. But being here, you are being able to groom to different domains, specialize according to your regiment and whatever your academic areas. However, ladies and gentlemen, the important factor is here, something that you need to understand is Sri Lanka and the geopolitics, our location and our situation. We talk about the stories from Mr. Nirudan that we heard about the Ukraine-Russia war and the contemporary, the Gaza conflict with Israel. And there are certain things that we need to understand for us, why we need to understand. Just imagine in the history, just horse traders landed in Sri Lanka when we don't have a standing army. And the history repeats that when the standing army is not more in Sri Lanka, we entangle with national security in danger. They paid the price not being groomed or contemporary evaluation along with the contemporary skills and knowledge are much more important to have it and understanding that to face the eventualities occurs. In that case, if you we talk about 13 to 14 years, we celebrate that we defeated terrorism. As he rightly brought out, we defeated the insurgents or terrorists the aim of them was to break the country into two parts. In that case, as legitimate force and why we are here, we did our duty as embedded and given by the mandate for military officers and military to do the duties. Having these things, the military is so much important. There are certain stories coming from Prussian wars or even the remarkable Trinity of Clausewitz, the general who was in the Prussia during the history of 18th century. He talked about the people, state, and power. Three things. And sometimes develop. If the things are not being developed according to check and balances and accountability from each corners, we call the people, state, or military. These are three triangles he talked in the past centuries. Today, world is evolved from technology-driven thing. Just imagine, we call the fifth industrial revolution. Sometimes it talks about the initial stages of the revolution start from the steam engine and up to today, the kinetic warfare. Beyond that is gone towards the next level of intelligence, and that's called the net-centric warfare, the connected warfare. So these are the things the world is evolving. Sometimes the revolution point is the present day. As he rightly brought up, Mr. Nirudan, although we call the third war, the war is not happening, that some of the salient features are engaging because the world is divided apart as like expected based on the ideologies, and the countries need to enhance their knowledge and their power. On the power basis, the countries are trying to gain the power by trying to devolve or trying to diminish another power. So we can see in the contemporary, the West is coming on a different agenda, East is coming, predominantly China, want to develop in a different. In the present context, in the Sri Lanka, where we are here, is involving in conflicting era, something the Chinese won, the Belt Road Initiative in 2013, that they developed along with the Shanghai Cooperation, and that too evolved 2014, the start of Indo-Pacific came. So why we need to understand in the scenarios of 5 elements, political, social, economic, environmental, and military. These are the 5 elements need to be understood at all points. If these elements are disintegrated, there may be a solution or a gap creates from a nation. We see how difficult these days. If you see that right now, if you talk the real truth, we are having a trouble in most of the entire, not only the military, the amount of the doctors are leaving the country, and the leaving of the military people, leaving of some of the government service from the country, just because of the economic one. So, one thing that we need to understand, political, social, economic, environment, and the military. These components has to be integrated, different agendas, different times. We talk something one, what is the misinformation and disinformation in the present context. The present context always fair. Next is the land, then air, space, maritime, and artificial domain, AI. So these are something we need to understand. These integration of these elements, I said about 5, so I talk about the 6. These 6 has to be evolved. If the young generation, the middle grade officers, who are going to take up the seats of today, the present scenario, you need to equip with the knowledge. The knowledge is the power for you. I quote, Einstein said, the knowledge and experience. Why? You are having about middle grade of officers are having knowledge you can impart. The wisdom comes through the experience. Today, I believe someone, if you take, we can't expect everybody to understand everything under the sun. There may be a slightest thing, if you understood about 10% to 20% after this session, well and good. So, ladies and gentlemen, having these things in mind, we talk about the 5th generation warfare, where I think for this, we have two eminent personalities to me. They are my subordinates, grooming towards the excellence in future. And they proved their professional careers in different areas. One, we are joining a person who is there in New York, Brigadier Sumal Vikramasekara. We both of us were engaged during last week. That is to counter misinformation, disinformation, and to show our professionalism in the international outreach. I returned day before yesterday from Ghana after attending the ministerial conference and showed Sri Lankan military's capacity, capability, and professionalism to the world that we are being professionally qualified to take up any profession in the world. And particularly in the peace, I met personally some of the element in United Nations senior administrative officers who are taking the decisions. And I met special representative to Secretary General in Mali, SRSG. That because of our engagement and interaction that empowered and given fruitfulness to the country right now. We were asked to leave according to the mandate by 15th of December, leaving the Mali according to the UN. However, United Nations believed Sri Lankan military is doing exceptionally well. With all respect to these people, understanding our professionalism, our accountability, and the good deed, they have extended and converted Mali convoy into United Nations Guard unit from today, this week, and up to the next year's June. That suffice to say that Sri Lankan military is always professional. We can employ anywhere with a good professional way. That gives the hard work of Sumal, because he understands our language. And thanks to the predecessors of him, the connection that developed by him and from us, we prove that we are interested to engage in the international arena, where as nation is important to interact with the international engagement with a solid professional outreach. So, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about this, it's my duty to introduce two speakers before giving their speeches to your people. Let me introduce first and foremost Brigadier Sumal Vikramasekara, but in the military way, I would like to, he talk about the evolution of modern warfare and significance of fifth generation warfare. So let me say something about his career. It is important to know, because you gentlemen are itching for expecting to be one of the officers like him in future and come up to the podium and talk something relevant and influencing the greater level of our generation. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let me give something. Brigadier Sumal Prasanga Vikramasekara, RWP, RSP, USP, PSC. After his primary and secondary education from Mahanama College, Colombo, joined the Sri Lanka Army on 24 July 1992 and was commissioned on 13th October 1994 from Pakistan Military Academy. After being commissioned as a second lieutenant, he was posted to Commando Regiment Sri Lanka Army. He is a versatile officer with more than 30 years of unblemished career records and has contributed to the Army and the nation in different capacities, command and leadership, staff and instructor domains, while displaying the highest level of professionalism, loyalty and integrity. Before posted to permanent mission of Sri Lanka to the United Nations as a military advisor, he was holding the appointment of Chief Instructor of the Army War College, Buttala, Sri Lanka. His major academic achievements include Bachelor of Art degree obtained from Pakistan Military Academy, Masters in Military Science obtained from Bangladesh University of Professionals, Master of Defense Studies obtained from University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, Postgraduate Diploma in International Relations obtained from Bandaranaike Center for International Studies, Sri Lanka, Past Staff College, Army Commander Staff College in Sri Lanka, and Defense Services Commander Staff College, Bangladesh. Besides the course of training he followed Sri Lanka, he has participated flash-style military exercise with US SEALs at Sri Lanka, exercised Mitrashakti with Indian Special Forces, and exercised Silk Road with Chinese Armed Forces. He followed Defense Service Command and Staff Course in Bangladesh, and he achieved third in the order of merit during the Army Staff College, Sri Lanka. In addition, he has followed Young Officers Course in Pakistan and become the second among the allied students. It's a great achievement for him. Further, he has followed Gatak course in India, Company Commanders course in China, Jungle Warfare in Malaysia, Jump Master and Airborne Operation course in Pakistan, Canopy Relative Work course in UK, Wingsuit course in Dubai, and Operational Law course from High Commission of UK in Sri Lanka. Recently completed Defense Attaché course and Distinction Conduct of the Geneva Center for Security Policy. He represents Sri Lanka at the International Anti-Hijack Seminar held at Beijing, China 2014. Brigadier Sumal Vikramasinghe is a good sportsman who has excelled in many sports fields as a player as well as an official. He was a member of college first 15 rugby team during his school tenure. Further, he has taken part in many national and international parachuting competition. He is a proud recipient of Army Colors for parachuting. Presently, he served the Secretary of Army Parachuting Committee. He was the officer in charge of Command Regiment Rugby team, which made many victories during 2014-2017. He also recipient Army Commander's Commendation Medal for the service he rendered to the Sri Lanka Army in 2023. He is a proficient in both Sinhala and English language and possesses sound knowledge of computer handling. His interest includes reading, music, movies, and wildlife explorer. He is a parachuting, practicing Buddhist. He is a caring, lifelong partner. His wife, Vishwa Rajaguru, and visionary father of 3 daughters. So I think it's a testimony to give an introduction. It's an hard-earned career and officer to this level. And today, to address you all, I'm expecting Sumal to come up to the board and deliver your speech, and we'll see how best our participants are taking part of. Over to you, Sumal. Sumal,
Yes, sir.
good evening to you. I believe the night in New York.
Yes, sir. It's 9 in New York.
That's why I mentioned a hard work of yours. It is important that we had recognized. Please proceed.
Sir, thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. It's a really motivation for me. Good morning to everyone. First of all, let me thank Commandant for inviting me and all the directing staff, my colleague. Thank you very much. And all the participants, good morning. So without further ado, let me start. The term generations of warfare refers to concept of each generation of warfare having different tactics, strategies, and technologies. This describes as the changing of phase of war over time and character of conflict change due to many reasons. According to Clausewitz, war is continuation of political intercourse carried on by other means. Hence, warfare can be defined as product of international politics, technological advancement, as well as social circumstances. Therefore, the belligerents in war, the reasons for war, and the tactics in war will never remain static, but will continue to evolve and adapt to changes in the environment. In modern day, it's highly unlikely that wars are declared or initiated conventionally, but they are fought by clandestine agents using military, non-military, media, cyber tools, information operations, non-state actors, intelligence agencies, and various other means. Hence, it is essential to understand the evolution of different generations of warfare prior to discuss about the fifth generation of warfare. Throughout the history, the nature of warfare has continuously evolved in response to technological advancement, changing social dynamic, and shift in strategic thinking. From the primitive conflict of ancient time to the complex information battles of the present day, the concept of warfare has transformed through 5 distinct generations. The journey through the generations of warfare reflects human ability to adapt and innovate in the face of conflict. From the ancient battles of raw force to the intricate manipulation of narrative, warfare have evolved alongside technological progress and changing social norms. So let me introduce you the different generations of war one by one. The first generation of warfare, the age of manpower and brawl. At the inception of the civilization, warfare initiated heavily on brute force and numbers. Battles were fought primarily through close combat, with warriors engaging in hand-to-hand combat using primitive weapons. The term first generation war refers to the period of warfare from the advent of gunpowder to the end of the Napoleonic War. This period history spanning roughly from 14th century to the early 19th century saw a number of important military innovations that changed the face of warfare. So let us see the characteristics. The linear formations were adopted for the tactical maneuvers with infantry in the center and cavalry on the flank. Battles were fought in series of assaults and counter-assaults. Each side attempted to break through the enemy's line. The limited firepower is a major observation. Firearms were introduced on the 14th century, thus were in primitive state and were inaccurate. So most armies still relied on weapons like sword and pikes, and battles were typically won through hand-to-hand combat. Limited mobility is the next characteristic, where the armies of the period were relatively slow, with most soldiers on foot and only a small percentage of cavalry. As a result, battles were typically fought in relatively small area, with both sides attempting to hold ground rather than maneuvering for advantage. Limited logistics was observed. The armies of the period were typically limited in their ability to sustain themselves in the field. Supply lines were often unreliable, and armies frequently had to live off the land. As a result, campaigns were often short-lived and focused on capturing strategic objectives rather than destroying enemy's forces. With that, let's talk about the second generation of warfare, the rise of industrialization and firepower. The idea of the second generation of warfare first emerged after the Industrial Revolution, which offered a various range of firepower options. The second generation warfare was developed in the mid of the 19th century due to the emergence of steam technologies and the methods of mass production, as well as a response for the wide range of the development of rifle barrel, guns, and indirect fire. The second generation warfare depends on the massive firepower and troops to occupy the enemy's land, as it was essential condition to victory at that time. The introduction of muskets and cannons changed the dynamics of battle, emphasizing the importance of firepower and maneuverability. This generation saw the rise of trench warfare and naval battles, demonstrating the impact of technological innovation on strategy and tactics. With the invention of the breech-loading rifle, musket longer range, great accuracy, and fast rate of fire was experienced. As a result, new strategy was developed based on attrition. Now let's see the characteristics of the second generation of warfare. Battles continue to fought by organized military forces of nation states. War increasingly relies on firepower and maneuver, on coordinated operation of indirect fire to support the advance of the battle line, and on cavalry maneuvers. Armored vehicles and airplanes are developing, restating rapid action in the theater and requiring the motion warfare. With this, the third generation of warfare, maneuver warfare. The 20th century witnessed the evolution of warfare into a more dynamic and fluid concept. Tank, aircraft, and improved communication technologies enable commanders to employ strategies that emphasize mobility, surprise, and coordination.
Sumal, yeah.
The use of combined arms tactics such as tank working alongside infantry and air support marked the shift in the way battles were waged. The third generation warfare emerged due to the increase of the firepower. The concept was developed by the German in 1980. The third generation tactic was maneuver in its principle rather than attrition principle of the second generation of warfare. The maneuver principle is based on qualitative maneuver over quantitative fire. It was also known as blitzkrieg. The main characteristics are battle continues to be fought by organized military forces of nation states. Sea, land, and air maneuverability becomes more sophisticated due to mechanization and new technological capabilities for maneuver. Doctrine to the new tactics such as attacking enemy from rear by bypassing the front line was introduced. Now let's talk about the fourth generation of warfare, which use asymmetry tactic and irregular conflict. The late 20th and 21st century introduced a new dimension to warfare characterized by asymmetric tactics and irregular warfare. Non-state actors and insurgent groups used guerrilla tactics, terrorism, and unconventional strategy to challenge conventional military powers. Information warfare and propaganda gained prominence as tools for shaping public opinion and influencing the outcomes. The fourth generation warfare idea started have a great importance after the September 11 attack on United States, followed by the Bali, London, Madrid, and Bombay attack, which made the traditional use of the armed forces useless in preventing those attacks. The fourth generation warfare came as indirect result of the rapid development in social, economic, political, and technological transformation caused by the globalization. The fourth generation has several names such as insurgency, terrorism, the long war, guerrilla warfare, non-state actors, and the global war against terrorism. So when we look at the characteristics of the fourth generation warfare, the decreasing involvement of the nation state and the emergence of non-state actors implies for the first time that belligerent does not necessarily comprise organized military forces of state. Armies become professionalized and eliminate the conscription. Using asymmetric tactics, techniques, and procedures on long periods of time in order to reduce superiority and strength of the opponent so that he cannot defeat using traditional conventional methods and techniques. Influencing decision makers in order to change their political attitude to own advantage and destruction of fighting spirit and morale of adverse troops. Use of insurgency and guerrilla tactics were very common. All available pressures are used, such as political, economic, social, and military. Now, let us talk about today's topic, the fifth generation warfare. The 21st century has seen emerging role of media, technology, and internet. The rise of social media along with fast internet technology have changed the world. Social media tools such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and WhatsApp have become favorite sources of information. Social media is being used as an instrument of warfare. Modern warfare is a war of perception, which is also called fifth generation warfare. State and non-state actors are shaping the influencing global and local perception to suit their interests. The media campaign launched against states aiming to distort the image at global level and destabilize them. Media association can be used to spread negative propaganda, false news, misinformation, and unjustified criticism to build misperception about state to weaken its position locally and internationally. Digital technology, cyber warfare, and sophisticated propaganda campaigns play a pivotal role in shaping public opinion, affecting policy decisions, and influencing behavior. The battleground is no longer confined to a geographic location, rather than exist within the intangible landscape of information space. The Arab Spring was the first conflict to be driven by social media, primarily Facebook and Twitter. When you look at the screen, you are familiar with similar slogan banners which was displayed in Sri Lanka in recent past. The fifth generation warfare introduces a lot of challenges and opportunities for individuals, societies, and government. Alike, the digital age has democratized access to information, enabling anyone with an internet connection to engage in the battle of ideas. However, this accessibility also makes individuals vulnerable to misinformation, fake news, and manipulative narrative. So when we look at the characteristics, the moral component is targeted in order to change the perception of masses to interest of the originator. Interests include political, religious, and social causes. It can be conducted by organized or unorganized groups. It may be nation, state-led or non-state-led to disrupt or defeat opponent superiority in order to achieve their own interest. Cyberspace and media platforms are used extensively, and social media is a powerful weapon. Nature of the attack is concealed. So, ladies and gentlemen, human history is filled with warfare between tribes, nations, and empires. The equipment used in war has progressed from sharpened sticks and rocks to automatic guns and missiles. Each new piece of military technology changes the way people fight and the tactics employed. The impact of the globalization is visible in many of the modern wars. In this context, international reporters, diaspora volunteers, and international agencies ranging from non-government organizations and the international agencies can play decisive roles. In this context, LTT had still succeeded to gain global support to further their cause for the separatist war in Sri Lanka using some of these influencing activities. They spread their narratives easily through the Tamil diaspora and sympathizers around the globe. Allegations on genocide, allegations on war crimes, and charges against the leaders as war criminals were globalized in order to discredit the hard-earned victory, and the third with the range of action against the government of Sri Lanka, including sanctions. If this continues further, it is inevitable that Sri Lankan military will go into the history as barbaric military force, undermining all these great sacrifices done and humanitarian efforts undertaken during and after the war by the military. Recently, we witnessed cybersphere is being extensively exploited by different parties beyond the geographic boundaries to reach different communities across the world through media, internet, especially social media accessed by billions of people to globalize perception which are against the government of Sri Lanka while attempting to tarnish the image of the Sri Lanka military. Country was run into turmoil, paralyzing the government machinery. These attempts are going to be huge security challenge in future if not addressed timely. It should be noted that in the absence of professional military outfit, security of the state will be at stake. Finally, let me leave you with these two thoughts, which will give the start for the other sessions. Thank you very much, sir.
Sumal, thank you very much. And I would like to congratulate for your speech. And it gives me as a session chair to influence little further as the session chair's duty. And according to the time frame, I believe another 5 minutes or so to come up that. And because we started little early and we are on the time, and therefore we would like to emphasize three things. That is the moral component, and it's all the interest in political, social, or ethnic interest, and the organized and unorganized. These are three things. Before we reach to the next level of thinking, there are three things he mentioned about the fifth generation of warfare. That is, he talked about the moral, where military of Sri Lanka, being the sole agents of Sri Lanka, our conduct, our way of profession always matters to show that we are legitimate and morally conducted force. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, our conduct, our way of action has to be seen by others because these everything matters on a securitization matter. That's called the image. They give it the narrative. The narrative delivers to the objectives what we are expecting. So in the terms of today, therefore we consider the moral, it's our value. It cannot measure our conduct, our way. In the moral also become an individual holistic way. The moral of individual can come body, mind, emotions and energy. These four factors can develop the moral or conduct an individual and organizational behavior. With these type of the endeavors of this Wolf College endeavor in this symposium can see this is an open one in the social media used to talk the Sri Lankan military to the greater reach to see how we professional. What are the moral values the Sri Lankan army is itching for? What are the objectives of military? And how we conduct can see the world, how good our military is conducting. So I believe these three factors, we talk about the three factors. That's the moral conduct and the interest of us and the interest of the nation, interest beyond the nation can be categorized on organized and unorganized. In the unorganized, you may have heard something called the lone wolf attacks. There are people who be motivated to do destructive force. And another one that can be called the hydra attacks. The person who comes mushrooming and coming up, popping up with believing some sentiments. With these connections, we will leave for the next of talk. So I would like to talk and invite another professionally recognized and gentleman according to our and my subordinate, Major General DSK Dolage, USP PSC. He is going to talk about the dynamics and influence of the fifth generation warfare and challenges. We knowing him as Kapila Dolage. And wherever he performed, he has mentioned and created conditions of importance. I can remember his legacy of being the director training. He was instrumental in shaping up the betterment of officers and men of the army. So inputs, what he have learned is character embedded for the better performance of today's military. I'm quite sure his tenure is more than 2 years as the director training of the Sri Lanka Army. During the tenure of his tenure, he tried at his best, even during the COVID, to support the training aspect of the army to everybody. Because I happened to work with him, he is reported to me in different times and working in a different domains, I understand his. Therefore, today, I believe Kapila Dolage is a right candidate to talk about this subject, dynamics and influence of the fifth generation warfare and challenges. Further, ladies and gentlemen, it's my duty to introduce his hard-earned career, how he brought up to this nature. And it is my duty to talk about Major General Kapila Dolage was born 3rd April 1971 and completion of primary education at Sir James Pierce Mahavidyalaya, Nanuya, and secondary education at Royal College, Colombo. He joined the Sri Lanka Army on 9 January 1990. He successfully completed the basic military training at Sri Lanka Military Academy, Diathalav, and was commissioned to the Corps of Engineers on 15 June 1991. He was bestowed with the President's Medal Award to first in the Order of Merit and the Sword of Honor Award to the Best All-Round Officer Cadet. During his long service, he served in operation areas in the capacities of Battalion IO, Adjutant, Squadron Command, Battalion Commanding Officer, the both combat engineer role and infantry role. While serving the regiment in the field, he took part in the major counter-insurgency operations conducted in North and East provinces. Also, he has been employed in several extra-regimental command, staff and instructional appointments. Some of the important appointments: Staff Officer 2, military training at Sri Lanka Military Academy, General Staff Officer 2 and 1, Operation and Training at SF Headquarters, Jaffna. General Staff Officer 2, Overseas Training and Director of Training. Senior Staff Officer Personnel at UN Military Force of Minister in Haiti. He took over after when I relinquishing. And Colonel Commander Secretariat, Colonel GS at Art Track, and presently serving as the General Officer commanding 519 Division. He was decorated with number of service medals and dedicated service with the Uttama Seva Padakkama for his unblemished service. His professional career has been shaped by a number of local and abroad military training and education courses. Some of the important local courses are Field Engineer course, Young Officers course, Battalion Intelligence Officers course, Unit Account Officer course, IHL HR course, and Defense Advisors course. Foreign courses are Young Officer Engineer course in Pakistan, Regimental Signal Officer course, and India, and Master's program in United States. He graduated from Army Command and Staff College in 2004 and Malaysian Armed Forces Staff College in 2006. His academic qualifications include Masters in Defense Studies from University of California in 2005, Postgraduate Diploma in Defense and Strategic Studies from University of Malaya in 2006, Master of Arts in Security Studies in Civil Military Relations from Naval Postgraduate School, California in 2016. While serving the art track, OCDC, and Director of Training, he contributed study, plan, implementation of military educational courses for officer career development. He has been conducting lectures on international relations, strategic studies in the military training establishment. He is married to Mrs. Lilanti and blessed with daughter and a son. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Major General Kapila Dolage as next speaker. Kapila, over to you.
Respected Chair, thank you very much for the kind introduction. Senior officers, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning. Now I'll be talking about the fifth generation warfare, its dynamics, influences, and challenges. This is a very much pertinent subject today. I like to take this opportunity to thank Commandant Army College and all the directing staff for inviting and giving me occasion to talk about this very much pertinent, timely, pertinent subject. There are a few sayings. The speaker one, he has already mentioned the outline about the fifth generation warfare. When it out the generation of warfare, sometimes we use the abbreviation as in the military, it is GW. Although the fifth generation warfare concept is new, the main ideas, the concept behind that, we were talking a long time back, even during Sun Tzu's period. There is the winning the battle without fighting and even before the fighting. And it is about the warfare of information and perceptions, attacking the perceptions. Advanced technology, it is a compulsory thing. If you have the advanced technology and know-how, and if you use this correctly, and 5GW is almost a magic. It is not a new phenomenon. It is developed with the human evolvement of the technology and thinking process. It is the cognitive warfare. What is cognitive? Cognition is our mental process And it is about our thought, experience, and sense, how do we get the things. And in the 5GW, what is subject to be attacked is our process of understanding, our process of thought, and it is going to be attacked. And we don't know. There are so many scholars and strategies, and they were talked about the 5GW. 5GW. Basically, but essence is same. Essence, core essence is same. It is basically about the information warfare with the technology and attacking the cognitive biases, cognitive bases. The term was first used in 2003, but before that also it has been used by use of technology at the time, available at that time. But still, even today, there are some strategies, they criticize the term 5GW. They still says, it is the 4GW. The proponent of the 4GW, that is William S. Lind, and he still says, there's nothing called 5GW, it is still the 4GW. We will talk about it later. And main characteristic of the dynamic shape of this 5GW is that it erodes the conventional wisdom of using violence or the military force as the mean to fight the wars. And it erodes and it replaced by the information and perception attack in the people's mind. This is the main difference between first generation, second generation, third generation, and fourth generation warfare. It is no use of physical violence, but the physical violence may be in little forms or the little use, mainly attacking the minds of the people. During this 25 minutes or so, it is very difficult to talk about which is the last subject. I am just going to give an introduction or brief idea about what is the 5GW. Firstly, I will talk about the dynamics of 5GW, then the influences and challenges resultant from the 5GW, fifth generation warfare. Firstly, I will talk about the key dynamics from the readings I have gathered and the books and other notes about the latest readings about the concept of fifth generation warfare. I have divided it into five categories of 5 boxes. Firstly, the ambiguity of the opposing force. Here, the victim never know who the opposing force is and who is going to conduct this operation. That is one of the characteristics. And it is called a silent war. Even in present situation and Sri Lanka, and we are also under the attack of fifth generation warfare, we do not know. And we do not know who the opposing force is. We never know. The best 5GW operation is that the operation is vague and its objectives are achieved, but still the victim does not know that he has been attacked and he has lost. Then the ambiguity of the attacking vector. The victim never understand and victim never know that what is going to be attacked, how the attack is going to be conducted, and what are the objectives to be achieved, and what is the end of the attack. That is another dynamic. Then the targeting existing cognitive biases. Being human being, we also have, everybody has his own cognitive biases. Being human being, and we always think, I am the perfect man. And what I think is the thing is perfect. It is what I believe is the truth. No. None of us are perfect things, and none of us see the truth in the world. We are just ordinary people. Maybe the extraordinary people like Lord Buddha, Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, they have seen the truth, but not us. So we always believe with our biases, we think that things are right. For instance, sometimes in our country, people think, okay, even I was cut into pieces and put it to the sea, I'll vote for this party. I am voting for this person. And I am for this person. Whatever he say, whatever he said, I am for this person. Those are cognitive biases based on our understanding, based on our knowledge, based on our maturity, all things we have our biases. Firstly, the attacker or the aggressor, he is to understand the biases, cognitive biases of the people. And he will select the target audience and he will attack the cognitive biases to change our cognitive bias. And how he is going to replace the cognitive biases, that is by creating new cognitive biases, that is so-called narratives, different narratives. Maybe a system change, And sometimes we see it is very lucrative. Sometimes we will, these are very sensitive things, and very lucrative. That's what I was also thinking about. The same narrative is going to come, and we are going to buy that narrative. And whose narrative is that? It is not our narrative. That is the aggressor's narrative. Aggressor narrative. So we are going to play as per his rhythm, as per his drum. Then the dopamine loops. Dopamine is a chemical content, or else it's called a hormone. It is a hormone in the brain, works in the brain. When that hormone works, it is called, the hormone is called feel-good hormone. And we feel that it is good. And we have a very good pleasure. We always pleasure to hear, and we always pleasure to look into that, this dopamine loop. By conducting these things, the person, the victim of the 5GW, he himself thinks, okay, the things what I expected is going on. This is what I expected. And he is happy. The person is happy. The group of people are happy, but they never understand they are subjected to be destroyed. But still he is happy. So all these 5GW operations are conducted by, we can't conduct a 5GW operation. That has to be technology advanced. The aggressors or the superpowers, they can conduct the 5GW operations. We never know, but still we think that is our war. And they plan and design this war in such a context that we think that it is our war and we are fighting, but ultimately we are in the losing end. This is the danger of the 5GW, and we are also facing it. Technology becomes the key instrument in that. Influencers. Firstly, influencers the change of the mode of warfare, the conventional wisdom of warfare with a close to its paradigm was, that is the use of violence. Use of violence has the meaning. As the DGS mentioned, the trinity of warfare, the government, people, and the army. The main arm, the conventional thinking, conventional wisdom, the main arm was the military, and it will be supported by the others, supported by the other arms. That was the conventional wisdom. The conventional wisdom, now it has totally been eroded by the 5GW. Now it is the instruments of national power. When we talk about the national power, and we talk about different instruments, DIME, D, diplomatic, I, informational, M, military, and E, economic, DIME. When it comes to DIME, always we were conventional wisdom, we were thinking that when the diplomatic, economic, and other instruments fail, and then the use of military, that is the use of violence, and that is war. And the use of violence, that can be done by the state's legitimate agent of use of violence, that is the armed forces. Now conventional wisdom, now it has been changed. Now the information and technology instrument, and it has become salient with these 5GW concepts. Firstly, it is used different areas, misinformation, that is deep fakes. What I present here is the one of the articles in the Daily Mirror in June 2021. It is about the danger about the fake news. The fake news, yes, we need information. It is about the misinformation. That is a deliberate manipulation of certain information, and then the disinformation, which is more harmful, deliberate manipulation of information to tarnish the image of personalities, people, and so that it can create hatred among the people, creating hatred, or the people being instigated to have rage and to fight against the governments. That is disinformation. This thing has to be fought, and it is reached almost nearly 2 years back, but still we were unable to take any actions. These things need to be addressed. And this is 5GW, and is always instigated by external actor. We think that it is us and our fight. No, it is not our fight. It is somebody else's fight. Then the cyber attacks, honeypots. I'm not going to describe all those things. Cyber attacks, that is also again use of technology, and people, those who have the know-how and the technology, they can do it. Then the social engineering does mean that is attacking the existing cognitive biases, the mental thinking, and creating it with new narratives in a such a way the person who is getting that narrative will be convinced that, okay, it is my narrative. This is what I thought, and this is what I have to do. This is the same. Then the social media manipulation. All the social media, this is the most dangerous thing. Everybody has a mobile phone, has my thing, and all the people, and they will be monkeys with a sword in hand without understanding what is national security. And they will play their sword. Ultimately, they are destroying the country. Then a mass surveillance. And surveillance information that is basically through the normal available means. Normal available means, and we are subject to that. We are subject to our information. We have nothing to hide. All the informations are outside all the Sri Lankans. Then the electromagnetic warfare. I'm not going to discuss about biting, but last fact, by 2020, global internet traffic increased to 2.3 zettabytes. And even by the beginning of 2003, cellular mobile connections in Sri Lanka was 30.618 million. That means almost 165% mobile phones and mobile connections. That much of, if they are educated, if they are knowledgeable about the security, and if they know what they are doing, yes, it is good. If not, all these people will be monkeys with the swords in their hands, not knowing what they are doing. Then the political nature of the warfare, anyway, the war is politics by other means, as Clausewitz said. Anyway, the political nature was far more highlighted with the nature of this 5GW exercise. It is not a new phenomenon, it was an early phenomenon. It was initially changed not only with the technology, with the technology it advanced, but it is the thought process. Even in 1970, during National Security Advisors of Carter's presidency during, and he proposed in his book, Technocratic Warfare, the control of the population through cybernetic manipulation. At that time, they were talking about, in 1970, about the cybernetic manipulation of the thought process of the people, not to wage wars, physical destructions, but use of other means. Technological revolution. And the same thing was told by even the Chinese strategists, and they were talking about the network-centric, and change of mindset, attacking the people's mindset. And they argued that it was be more destructive. Now the warfare has changed, and it will become a cognitive. Cognitive means attacking your mindset, and you will be convinced that, and you are fighting your own war, but it is not your war, somebody else's war. And you will fight that war as per the thinking, as convinced that it is your war. And in the pre-5GW area of the concept was there, that is the economic subjugation. They compel the countries to economic subjugation and to come onto their will. That is the. In 2008, a person called John Parkinson, he had read a book called The Compassion of an Economic Hitman. The concept of economic hitman came in 2008, and he said that he was an economic expert of the US, and he was going to developing countries, and he proposed multi-billion projects, grid projects, ports, harbors, road networks, those projects. Then the country leader asked, we don't have money. Okay, our government is ready. I have negotiated, our government is ready to give a loan. Then who comes to the contract? That's the government. Then the bank gives the loan, and all the companies and construction companies come from that particular country, or the workforce also that company, and they do the project, and the country is unable to maintain that project, and they lie with the debt. Ultimately, the country has to give that project to that particular country. That was something done by the USA, and it is something that is happening in the other powers also. So-called color revolutions, we have been listening to the different color revolutions. And so-called color revolutions or the Operation Good Souls, those are the names used by the USA and other powerful countries. Mobilizing the populations to establish governments that are not submissive. If they are submissive, yes. If they are not submissive, they will topple those countries with 5GW. And even the present context, the integrated operational concept of 2025, the UK, it says about the cognitive warfare. Cognitive warfare, change of perception, not the use of physical violence, but cognitive space, attacking the cognitive space. Few more cases, outing of Salvador Allende. Salvador Allende was the elected president in Chile in 1970. He was the Marxist leader. The USA did not want him a Marxist leader in South America, so they wanted to change the government. What they did was, and they created the use of 5GW at that particular time with the technology. The CIA spent about $8 million, and they fund the opposition of political parties, and the militia against the Salvador Allende. And ultimately, after 3 years and they broke down, Chile was diplomatically isolated. Their main export was the copper, and it was halted in the Iceland market. Economically, the country broke down, and then the people rise, and people come to the protesters, talking to people to the protest with the political parties, opposition political party, took the people outside, huge protests for 3 years. After the Salvador Allende government was fall in September 1973, Allende himself was killed. The Russian annexation in Crimea in 2014, in 3GW, what would have done by the Russia? And mass force with huge firepower, naval, air, and massive air attack? No, they didn't do it. In 4GW, they would have created an insurgency because the majority of the Crimea was ethnic Russians. They would have created insurgency, supported that, and toppled the government? No. What they did is, they initially did some infiltration attacks and captured some key points, and they hold the country for a certain period, and the referendum was there. By the time the referendum was going, and nobody was there to opposite the, or to say that no to Russia. They took it. The other countries also same. China, Iran, all the countries, even this so-called Arab Spring. What is the final end state of the Arab Spring? That is NATO's control of the northern African countries. The people in the Arab Spring, they might have think, okay, it is our, and now we are the heroes, we are going to have a system change. No, nothing happened. Ultimately, all the countries came into the NATO's control. In case of failure of achieve subjugation, what they are going to do, and they are going to change the leader. They are going to change the leader, and they establish a puppet leader. If the puppet leader is not working as per their agendas, he will also be again changed. This is how it is going to happen in 5GW.
Go ahead.
Our challenges as a state, as DG also mentioned, close proximity to India. We are well within the India's security influence, insurance security, so we can't forget the fact. So that if as far as if India thinks that we are going to go against them, and we are going to facilitate an enemy or adversary of them, and they are going to take some action. It is short of warfare, but still it is the most challenge to us. And it was historically the same thing it has happened. Throughout the history it has happened, and it is happening, and it will happen also. The LTT, what we are talking about, it is not our insurgency, it was India's insurgency. And we took it as our insurgency and fought it. The reason was that it is India, created by India. The managing the constraints arises from geostrategic location. Our geostrategic location today, there are two superpower blocks. That is one thing. One thing is it is Quad, America and other countries, America, US, China, US, Australia, India, those countries, and Japan. The other side, China, and we are entangled in that two-sided trap. Both the blocks, they were entangled in the two-sided trap. Two-sided trap does means the two powers, and one thing is hegemonic power, traditional hegemonic power, and the other is rising power. When the rising power developed their power, all the hegemon, who was the existing hegemon, and he has a suspicion that he will be overcoming, and there's war. All the times, this type of incident, there was war. Those two sides has to manage, otherwise, and we have to understand our position, the reality, our reality is that when the two giants, whether they make love or fight, the small creatures in the plane, and they are going to trample. And we have to understand that reality. So when we do not manage these two sides and other side, definitely the 5GW is going to come and get us to subjugate to their will. That is the reality. Then inherent constraints in our side, our country also. We have different ethnic groups, different religious groups, different varieties, and we think that we are very likely and we are very consistent taking the different narratives given by the others. And we are fighting against the tweet, or we are going to fight to defeat the myth of Tamil Elam or the Tamil homeland. On the other side, they are fighting, and we are fighting for our right thing or the truth of the homeland. That all the narratives are given by the external actors, and we are fighting. There's no national unity, so that we are vulnerable. Our vulnerability, unless we unite as a country, eradicating all these differences, yes, external actors will continue to use with the 5GW. They will exploit in these things. And our national power is very weak. Our military, our economy is weak. We don't have any economy now. We don't have any economy. And in diplomatically, we don't have a character in the international order, and we are bankrupt currently. We don't have a recognition. We don't have a recognition. And we have to understand our situation so that, again, we are vulnerable unless we develop our national instruments, economy, diplomacy, and all those things. Intelligence. Our intelligence is big. Our media and cyber domains, everything. When we do not have these things, what we are going to do? And we are asking the help for these powerful countries and those who are the aggressors. And we are asking help from them. And they are very much willing. For I have seen, they are very much like to come, okay, we'll give you everything. We are there to help you. And they will give the system, and they will take our information, everything out. That's what's happening. That's how, because we are poor, we can't buy them. So we have to rely them, whatever they give. Something like credit card system. From the credit system, we don't get the good things. All things are expired, either expired, tests, experimented things, everything, just all the poor things comes here. So even our media also same. Our media, there's no free media. Free media is not free. There's no media. Always the media is his master's voice. His master's voice. The master is also play of external actor. So all the media, we have seen the recent past areas, some media is how they instigate the people and to get, and due to subversion and violence. Because their masters are external actors. In the hands of external, their masters are cat paws of the external monkeys. We have to understand, even the cyber security also same. When we come to the border control and everything, these aggressor countries, they come and help us, but they have all the records inside. And this is our vulnerability, and this is our challenge, how we are going to work on this thing. The concentrated regulation of cyberspace activities, we can't regulate. There are 165% mobile phones, similar amount of monkeys with the hands, and they think that they are the people, and they are passing all the messages here and there outside, and we don't have a mechanism, legal provisions, laws to prosecute them. Even we have a prosecute. You can find a needle in a haystack, stack of hay, but will it be able to find a specific needle in a stack of needles? No, it is very difficult. Then, if you are going to introduce such a mechanism, what is going to happen? Again, a such type of aggressor, and he will come into, okay, this is the system, and he will introduce the system, and he will jeopardize. Again, the hole in the bucket, that is what is happening. Then the transformation of military for us, our doctrines and everything, and we were focusing over the traditional warfare, use of violence. Now we have to change our thinking. Firstly, we are under fire, the armies. The people were convinced during the last few years, we were convinced the army is useless. There's no war. And they are just spending the national budget. They are useless. That was given the idea. And even our people were conceived. No, we have to change our people. When it comes to the military is the insurance of the country. When something happens to the country, the insurance has to be there. We pay the insurance installment. Sometimes we may think, okay, we continuously payment, but we don't get anything benefit. But still, the insurance, the ground insurance that when you need, it has to be there. Finally, our survival depends on how we manage to face the external challenges emerging. We have to understand that there's a process of changing our mindsets. Through the social media, and neuroscience, it is changing. Daily, we are always looking at the social media, and it is about changing our mindsets and creating hatred to our leaders and other peoples, creating hatred, and we are making insurgent to fight against the country. And we were armed with the social media with a sword to kill our motherland, the soul of the country. We have to understand this. We have to understand our position. There's no purpose of boasting. And if we are going to talk, our people are talking to fight. If we are to talk about fighting, firstly, what you have to do, you have to have your foot firmly on ground. We don't have the ground to keep our foot for. So it is totally through the diplomacy, our understanding, we have to arrange. We have to manage this situation. Finally, I'll quote this statement, you can read yourself. In 300 BC, there was a war called Peloponnesian War. In the Peloponnesian War, Athens was the city-state, that was the powerful state. Sparta was another city-state. It was rising. Athens has a suspicion that, okay, Sparta will overcome and Sparta will rise and overcome and they will be the most powerful state in the city-states. So Athens go to war with Sparta. And Milevo is a small island nation, and although they were not with the Sparta, they did not they did not have any relationship or signed treaty with the Sparta, but they were with the Sparta. So the Athenian general, he came to Milevo, the small island nation, and this is what he said. And we have to understand, we are also in the same position now. We are in the position in 3,000 years back, what Milevo Islanders was there. That is the same position. Another thing is sometimes the people are cursing for these powerful states. The USA, China, India, and other countries. There's no purpose. There's no purpose. If we come to that position, we will also do the same. That is the reality of the world. If we come to that position, we also did. There's a saying to say that poor people are all good. Sorry, rich people are all bad. They are bad because they take from the poor. What they take from the poor? The rights, poor's rights. Poor people are all good. They are good because they are not strong enough to be bad. And that is the world reality, and we have to understand reality, and we have to understand the vulnerabilities of our geostrategical position and our people's lack of awareness about this 5GW or the use of social net and other things. And we do not have to understand that we are under attack and silent attack until we are destroyed. And today our peoples, with the drain and the migration of the people, and maybe after 10, 15 years, Sri Lanka is going to go. And whatever they can, the aggressors they can do, and we will have to combine and we have to subject for the others. We have to understand this challenge. As the military, we have to understand, we have to preserve our military forces. Thank you.
Thank you, Kapila. Indeed, it's a well-prepared, in-depth subject, moving from different domains, starting from human body, cognitive approach, and to military strategies, and tactical, and moreover, it is an influencing factor that he is trying better to you all. So I see that in a long spell, before going for a question and session, I might forget to appreciate his presentation, rather his speech, and he talks about many things at the outset. He talked about the cognitive approach, where we need to understand. I initially tried to grab you and to bridge you with 4 things. That's the 4 subjects that we talk, the electromagnetic spectrum, air, space, maritime, then human factor. These are the 6 domains that we have to be aware in the military as military officers in 6 phases, 6 areas of domains in military warfare can. He talks, articulated the way he wants. And moreover, he talks about the cognitive approach. I feel you may have heard what you can take over from today onwards. I thought I must embed and influence. There should be a no free lunch for me from you all. I believed you can read a book called The Failed State, written by James A. Robinson, Darren S. Maglu. I will share it to the commandant or whatever the group today engaging in the subject to share an area. We have as like the social platform we created as an academics or an education. So we can be shared for better improvement by without talking the bad side of the 5G, we can take the best out of it for the betterment of our country. He talks about the historical subject. The subject that he talks about the history. There's a saying that history always repeats. In the history repeats in a different way. You might have heard if you handling or used to the today's media, particularly on the YouTube, the Stoic principle, the philosophy. He talks about the wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. These are the philosophy that individual have to give. So he talks that thing. Embedded to that one is the dopamine he talk about, the affection that we like it. Today, you may have heard, you may interest to subjectively to be with here. And there are four segments, four fundamental hormones can be influenced to us. That is the dopamine, serotonin, endorphin, and exotoxin. These are things you can get it yourself and gain motivate for better to know and understand beyond that. Why? He talks something very important, where we should not blame others. The countries has reached there and they want to maintain the status quo. There are historical practices where if you take K.M. Panikka's book on India and Indian notion, he denotes how India should be. We can't change the philosophically or we can't change the geographical location. We have to live with that. The Gaza cannot be taken away from the Palestinian, or now Israel can't get out from the Palestine. The territory is being established since 1945. To live with that. In the scenarios of that, the gentleman, the nation has invested the all. And that I said, political, social, economic, and environment. That's how our salaries are coming, how our other location coming, our mindsets are coming. Some countries are subjectively giving the best options because the country is stable. Since country is stable, image is giving up. The image is up means expectation is there. When as he said, when the rupees is declined, there's no value, there is a problem of us. But we should not blame to that. But this component, the military component, equipped with the knowledge. If you have the knowledge, we can proceed towards the end. Why? We are a nation, we are the strength of the entire nation, living from north to east, north to south, east to west, to center. The entire spectrum is military here. Why? The nation needs the stability. Nation needs the insurance, is the Sri Lankan military. The military is the sole agent in time of calamity or a catastrophic. You see the Gaza Strip, what is happening? There are three things is happening. The infrastructure is into danger. Their food and security is danger. Health is in danger. More than that, as we experience after got defeated and subject to the British colony, the education, the national. This is why Army commander, in his investment with a think tank of good officers, are trying to give you this knowledge. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we will open for the subject, and I got some questions from the board. We'll see how long we can it. Okay, first and foremost, without much on the professionally on the official way, be casual and some of the question to me, and I think I was trying my level best to impart a lot within the time frame that has been given to me. Ladies and gentlemen, floor is open. We will take by take answers, but I could see the answers that you are expecting from us is very much pertinent, but important. Some of the questions starting from Lieutenant Colonel RMDK Tennakon from Commando Regiment. Am I correct? Who is he? Anybody? He talks. Okay. He asking a question, how does fifth generation warfare impact the economic stability of the nation? I think if you take the story of Brigadier Sumal Vikramasekara, at the latter part, he talked about the fifth generation and its impact onto the nation. How the stability, misinformation, disinformation in today's context. That itself, we saw during the calamities or during the COVID situation, how country was stuck into that. When the situation, understanding one segment and closing the economies. Economy, today the repercussions came up. But that time, understanding of entire unity integrated of elements, when the disintegration, economic collapse. Social unrest came. and subsequently Aragalaya came. So these are the things but the investment the nation has paid on the country, all time in the history, military came up as the only answer for stability. The stability is the answer for these type of thing. The stability should par with the economic spillover equality. As he said, the 5GW, he talks, these things come, mistrust, frustration, economic depreciation, economics moving not to it, towards the equal opportunities are being. So we have been here, you and me are entitled and enjoy the free education to great extent. You and me are enjoyable to this level up to now, free health to a great extent. Unless if you want to have a better quality medicine, yes. Otherwise, nation is providing these things. So, gentlemen, I believe the military is providing one pillar, that's the strength of surety and sure of the national stability. That's, I think, the economy can be. Anything, Kapila, you can give an answer. Even Sumal, over to you all to discuss one by one. We talk. There are certain questions that are coming. I don't know the time frame. For me, it is being given question and answer session till the 12:30 hours. So I have another half an hour. We will stick at least for 5 minutes to be with the question. I think the first question I answered. Kapila, you can add anything, or Sumal, you can add from Sumal, you can explore your answer from living in New York, coming to via the generation of internet connectivity, and you can talk the Western world philosophy or the attraction to here. Over to you, Sumal, first. Then let's go to the local. He's coming from the more interested area where these days, or otherwise, talking from Mulathiv. So there are two extent from the far west, New York, and Mulathiv. So we will talk from the two extent from them. And there are two things we may be able to talk, but in equally, characteristics can be equal to for the economic endeavor. Okay, Sumal.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Now, the biggest misperception today in Sri Lanka is that I want to say that Sri Lanka is not a country to live. So with this perception, we are experiencing the skill migration and brain draining, many things we are experiencing. And most of the people, they sell their things, they sell their businesses, then try to migrate. So it's a direct impact, and it's a rather thunder on our economy. So till the time we are to get out of this perception, rather misperception, it is going to be very hard. Now, if we commonly talk to anyone in common society, everybody talks about what? Going out from the country. Most of the, even the military officers, they are talking about sending their children out of the country. So what is going to happen with this kind of perception in the country? Can we grow? Can we proceed? Can we go ahead? So that is the biggest challenge we have for the economy and everything.
Okay. He talk about the perception of him, and will he say from the General Kapila Dalage?
If we talk about the economy, specifically, economy is just two things, that is supply and demand. So if we can attack supply, if the aggressor can hit the supply or demand, and we are gone. For instance, and we are mainly depend on our economy export of apparels, that is with the GSP plus. If we don't get the GSP plus, if the aggressor countries can influence, okay, don't give them GSP, then we are gone. Similarly, other things also same, export and import everything, and everything, even the fertilizer, and we don't produce fertilizer, we have to bring it from outside. Everything we depend on other countries, and if they cut down the supply or the demand supply chain in anywhere, our economy is collapsed. And our economy totally depend on the debts. And if any country in the present situation, if any country says, okay, we do not agree with the restructuring of debts, and we are gone. So the influencers, the aggressors, they have so many ways and means they have their intent, but still we have to understand, we have to change the way of thinking. We did get the foreign loans and foreign grants, everything, and we do spend not for the investment, for the daily use. And it has been throughout the practice, throughout the last 7 decades, and still now we have to, at least now we have to understand, we are not be able to conduct this more, and we are going to go totally forever if we are going to conduct this. And we have to change our mindset, our thinking, way of thinking.
Thank you for elaborating the importance of economy. And I feel that if you see now, I think relate to this one, the present day is 2023. About 22 years ago, the Soviet Russia collapsed in 1991. That was the year. And with that, it came up with theories, too many things. The liberalization is the ideal. And how it's today, if you take the world in the spectrum, that called the bipolarity at that time. The Soviet Russia was in the other side, and the West is in the other side. And domain effect of each side was happening. And then 1991 onwards, the unipolarity came. The multipolarity to unipolarity came. That means West, particularly United States, dominating that. In that, if you could read the book called the Samuel Huntington's, he talks about the liberalization about that. And he talks about how economy should be. And beside that, during the time of Jimmy Carter, he talks about, he opened up the economy. At the time of the version of the Leonid Brezhnev was the supreme leader or a chairman of the Soviet Russia. At that time, today sometime if you happen to read some of the, Jimmy Carter's state secretary, Henry Kissinger, he used to dialogue with China and develop China into workforce industrial house at that time. Then China and USS were a party to that. This was being mentioned during the speeches of His Excellency the President recently also, about some of the world and the India Ocean and Indo-Pacific with version of his version. Subjectively, that given world to have a easy access to modern day components and lucrative opportunities to enjoy the stuff which we are today enjoying. But with the power of the country want to move up on that, the country is having. So therefore, these things are not sometimes where we are much more oriented in the industry that we had during the time of independence, tea, rubber, coconut, and those one. And subsequently government came and to tourism. But in a period of anarchical situation, if he mentioned that the narratives that develop by the interested parties outside the nation can hamper the country. Therefore, the number one thing that a nation need to have is the food security. There's no chance from others when the threat come. I was wondering, in the south, Sri Lanka is continuously raining, maybe the second intermittent monsoon. How, if you continue these things, the change of environmental hazards can influence the food security of our country. And now there's no jobs, no industry, so therefore, these things need to be understood and live with it. So that's why I said, even this collapse, even yesterday in the goal, earth, small spillover of the soil had created one life. At Ruhunu University, the medical faculty at Gaul, a place called Karapitia. So these are environmental hazards. And even today, the roads are being closed in Badulla, Colombo. So therefore, this is also coming. How country can go with that? Therefore, we have to have some system of, the number one is stability. Stability can be within the parameters believed in accountable and democratic framework. These are something that top level strategists can do. In the operation and tactical, we can do. So since I believe the fifth generation warfare, economic stability of a nation is important. Ladies and gentlemen, you can read the book called Failed State. I think I have shared with my wall, with my peers, with others, the book called Failed State. The PDF version, you can got it and see how the nations can be. He talks about the one thing that very important, top of the Chilean example. And if you take the Bolivia, another. If you take the Argentina, another, particularly in the Latin American experience. There are lots to think, but at now we'll go for that. Now, the second question from Lieutenant Colonel W.P.K. Samarasekara, PSC, SLA. What are the new measures Sri Lanka Army to keep political security of the country? I'm quite sure this is something we military are not involving on political. We create condition of stability of the nation by doing whatever things. There's a saying in the Napoleon talk, it says, soldier march on stomach. Stomach in the sense, not the stomach, the feeling of accomplishment and fulfillment of your desires, of your personal life and otherwise. So having these things, if we make the military in order, having rightful influence, we may be able to answer this one. I think the already Sri Lankan army is giving whatever the things, despite emotional aggravation that the expected outcome is expecting for Sri Lanka army to breach the law, breach sometime, but the disciplined army always maintaining as a stable and disciplined officers and ranks in a different, the best way of ability. Am I correct, Kapila? You may can add, even from New York, you can add something.
The role of the military it is very much clearly given in our Army Act in the Section 9 and Section 23. That is our act, the legitimate act. Sometimes the people issue say when we were doing guard in the petrol shed and other things, and that is not the role of the military, but unfortunately it is given. It was given role. It is the, we have to ensure when the essential supply supply of essential commodities are disturbed, the military, not only Army, Navy and Air Force has to support to fulfill that things that is in our acts, Army, Navy and Air Force acts. And other than that, in the military, and we all have given birth, our oath, it is to protect the constitutions, the provisions of constitution. So we have to act according to our duty. And it does not mean, and we are not protecting any political party, but we are protecting the state.
Okay, sure.
I would like to add
ladies and
now.
gentlemen, very pertinent question before throwing into the forum. What I see, what are the preparation of use of modern technology for future warfare in Sri Lanka? So I think with this we'll move to other one. I feel there is a saying in Sinhala some time back when the Portuguese came, what they ate, what it says, they ate Tiruvanagal Anagaman Lebonoa. That's the technology that we have not been par with the world. So if you don't know something similar, in 1980s, 87, 86, when the first time the RPG found in eastern part, we were shocked to see some rocket fired one in the shoulders. So therefore, this technology, yes, we need to understand to empower. As he said something about, as Sun Tzu's mentioned, we have to be ready, alarm and everything. So gentlemen, this answer is questionable, not question. We have understand. We need to understand our economy. We need to understand our knowledge, and army is trying level best to maintain the security. Okay, with small interaction, gentlemen, from the forum, you may ask a question. Okay, up to you. This is open for you because there's a request from the, similarly, I thought this setting is set, but the SI wanted me to, from Buttala, the gentleman, you can come and ask your questions to us. You may be able to answer whatever you all want. We try our level best, but need to understand, the time is another 15 minutes. So the spectrum is there. There are certain field office senior officers here. We can take this one from his version as well. I believe the Buttala, you may can get prepared, and General Shivan Kulatunga, the chief field engineer, you can have some add your feeling on the subject matter and to impart the knowledge for this August gathering or promising future generation of our military officers.
I think I'll be getting an opportunity to share my views tomorrow, as I'll be one of the guest speakers. But I would like to comment a little bit on the question that was taken up earlier as to how the military can support political security. I think this is very pertinent, because if you do not understand where and what the responsibility of the military is, then that is the time that things can go downstream. And as Kapila very clearly emphasized, that it is that the military's responsibility is very clearly stated in the Constitution and as well as the Army Act. The main responsibility of the military is to ensure that there is stability. When you talk about political security, basically we are talking about stability, about the stability of ideologies, the stability of the economy, the stability of the political views, and the stability with regard to the constitutional rights of the citizens. And the military's responsibility in ensuring political security is to deal with external and internal threats that threatens stability. So it is very clear we don't support political parties or politics, but we are duty bound to support the government in ensuring that there is stability in all the aspects that were discussed by the speakers. So I just wanted to emphasize on this. Thank you very much.
I'll come back to you. Shivan, thank you very much for updating. I can see my coursemate and respected senior officer from Buttala, Admiral Vayan Jayarana sir. So you and both of us were in 2001, September 11. We were at the Staff College. And that since 2001 and up to this, both of us were in the same scenarios. We were in the ground of the whatever the areas, and you are expert in the submarine cables and your expertism the Navy. I believe you can, I know you have a session to chair and to forward your views to us. I believe that this session, sir, respected sir, you can come up with some of the idea from my side to enhance this August gathering for their knowledge quest. And particularly I ask, since 2001, the world evolved. Strategies evolved from even 2020, we are at the 5th generation of the industrial revolution. Men and machines are working together. So, sir, come up with your career, experience, and respected academia and the respected naval officer and a brave senior officer. Sir, over to you. Can't hear, sir. No, I can't hear, sir. Please connect, Admiral Jayarana, sir.
Are we connected now?
Yeah, loud and clear, sir.
Okay, right. So I have to thank you very much, Chandana. So I have to preserve my presentation for tomorrow. So I will not disclose any of the things that I'm going to share with you tomorrow. But listening to the presentation and looking at the kind of questions that the officers has raised earlier, let me give you some advice from my 36 years of experience in managing many aspects of crisis. First thing, your language matters. Know how to use the correct word, correct terminology. Now, in these questions, there was a question raised about political security. Remember, in the military, we will stay aside from the politics.
Exactly.
We are not here to ensure the political security. But here, we are here to ensure that the state security is met, addressed. So that, let me take that as an example. It's very important that you use these correct wordings, even when you speak in Sinhala. To many of the media, or you happen to meet on the street, or you happen to meet with your friends over a glass of whiskey, or many other forums. Be very conscious about the wordings you use. Your wordings might be interpreted very differently. This is fifth generation. Your wording might be carried and interpreted differently, and it will give you a completely different picture to someone who is looking at it. There are ample opportunities for you to study these things. Correct yourself. Make use of that. So engage. How you engage? You engage to improve your communication capabilities, your ability to express, your ability to bring your ideas into words and communicate them so the other guy will understand it. So for this, you have a very good opportunity. So as commanding officers, as middle grade officers, you are having that powers to work out. So improve yourself and empower your subordinates. Your subordinates, the young officers, are going to determine the future of your military organization. And it will be the same for the Navy. It will be the same for the Air Force. So remember that. The correct terminology and the use of terminology, the ability to express very well, these things you can improve on it. So regarding the present day economic conditions, yes, it is a concern. It is a concern for the top military management. It is a concern for junior military managers. So how do you do it? It's up to your imagination, how you want to engage. So we were talking about these things over a cup of tea during the tea time. So how much effect if you take, let's say you take your galley. In the Navy it is called the galley. You go and look at the dustbin, the waste bin, the amount of food being wasted. එකම සිංහලෙන්ම කියන්නම් හැමෝටම දැනගන්න. විසිකරන හැම බත් ඇටයකටම මූල්‍යමය වටිනාකමක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ විසිකරන හැම බත් ඇටයක්ම අපි ඉතුරු කරොත් වේස්ටේජ් එක අඩු කරොත් ඒක හරහා ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ තමුන්ගේ මැනේජරියල් තමුන්ගේ කළමනාකාරීත්වයේ දක්ෂතාවය. එතකොට ඒ හරහා ඒ ඉතුරු කරන දෙයින් තමුන්ට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේ ගොඩයි. So we were talking about these things, how he managed in Ayakachi, his experiences. You preserve those things and you start engaging with the society. So the society, irrespective of what is the perceived perception on the social media, your immediate neighborhood will be looking very differently at you. That change you can create. You have been empowered, you have been given with those resources. Doesn't mind what is the economic level of this country. How you do it? It is your imagination, it is your creativity. So think about those terms, because we are at a very critical time of our time. For the last 36 years, I have not managed this kind of a crisis situation. We have managed JVP time, internal security, LTT time, and events, disasters at sea. But this is a completely different scenario, and you happen to be the managers of that. So use your imagination. So imagination comes with books. You have to read a lot. You have to understand how things are being done, how the people are being looked at. And the chair just mentioned about a couple of books. So read it. Your knowledge will take you there. Your knowledge will empower you with that ability. So that's about it, Chandana. Thank you. So let me preserve the core of my values to my presentation tomorrow. Thank you.
Why, sir, as it is happened in the previously, you have enhanced the knowledge and influence as always. I can still remember in 2001, you told me and our life, I think when we were starting our career as the middle grade officers as the ACSC number 4, you told me to read a lot. You influenced me to study. I believe so far with your guidance and influence of your and our understanding, our friendship, and as my senior subaltern, I believed I did my part as the organization expected. Similarly, with much of the time, I believed, ladies and gentlemen, as he brightly talked about, some of the jargons we need to be very much precisely and we should be avoided. These are the ample example from a senior perspective. This is, since you all have come up on the platform of 5G, on the social media is open, people can have a different context, different ideas and things. With the Chatham House rule, these, I believed, this gentleman and even for everybody, this opportunity is given a young officer, the middle grade officers to enhance the knowledge. So I believe this lesson also a great impact for understanding what to talk, what not to talk, keywords, key areas, areas interest, areas influence, how personality development, how organization behavior, what are the key performance indicator for individual, performance KPI for the key performance indicator for organization. These are important for future march. With ladies and gentlemen, lot of questions for anybody. I believe with this time, the time is ending for me to, for my session. With great respect to the commander of the army and visiting dignitaries like today, the Mr. Nirudan, he has given his and his outset as remarkable in his opening speech, and he broke the ice for us to move forward with this an enhancement of Admiral Y.N. Jayarana sir, and tomorrow another eminent personality, even my personally my groomer and my mentor, General Uday Perera also is going to visit and deliver his speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to look for people like that caliber for better personal grooming. Why we are here, the nation is investing. අර බත්තටය කිව්ව වගේ සර් මේ හැම දෙයක්ම මේ තියෙන ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි එයා කන්ඩිෂන් මේ තියෙන හොඳ කම්ෆර්ටබල් පුටුව මේ ඔක්කොම දීලා තියෙන්නේ අපේ මයින්ඩ්සෙට් එක රට වෙනුවෙන් වැඩක් කරන්න. අපි accountable අපිට. අපි transparent අපිට. නිසා මං හිතනවා professionally the answer for each and everything. The expectation, the delivery of the free education, free health for the better country. Where we have gone is gone. We can't talk now. The era is us. We can plan futuristic way with our own strategies. The strategies can come as fifth generation. What is material? Misinformation, disinformation, cyber warfare, and these come in the plate of present day. In future, we have to handle cognitive, the mindset, in a progressive manner in internal and external behaviors as embedded personality of Sri Lankan military. All the best, Chair and the Commandant, Army War College, and my two presenters. Either this and golden opportunity for me to impart little knowledge of mine for the betterment of organization. Sumal, thank you very much. I know that it's a midnight in New York. Thank you very much for coming up to the forum. And Kapila, for well-prepared presentation, both of you, thank you very much. Again, Dinesh and the directing staff of the Army War College, we amply wanted to pay our gratitude. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just listened to a very informative and interactive session on fifth generation warfare and challenges for state. Therefore, on behalf of the Commandant and the staff of Army War College, we would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the session chair, Major General MGWWW MCB Vikramasinghe, RWP, RSP, NDU, PSC, Director General, General Staff, Sri Lanka Army, Major General DKSK Dolage, USP, PSC, and Brigadier SP Vikramasekara, RWP, RSP, USP, PSC, for sharing their valuable thought and experience in the field of fifth generation warfare and challenges for state.
Now, I would like to respectfully invite the Commandant of the Army War College, Major General UKDDP Udugama, RWP, RSP, USP, NDC, PSC, to present a token of appreciation and certificates to the session chair and the speakers of the first session. First, the session chair, Major General MGWWW MCB Vikramasinghe, RWP, RSP, NDU, PSC, the Director General, General Staff, Sri Lanka Army. Next, Major General DKSK Dolage, USP PSC, the General Officer Commanding of 59 Division. Thank you, sir.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, now it is the time to wind up the session for lunch.
We will start this second session at 1400 hours. Please note that all virtual participants must log in 15 minutes prior to the commencement of the session, and all physical participants should be seated by 13:55 hours. Thank you.